You know, being a manager is one of the most critical roles in any organization, but the ground is shifting right under our feet. What it meant to be a great manager even just a few years ago, well, that's not what it means today. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into how this role is going through a massive evolution.
So let me ask you straight up, is your management playbook a little outdated? It's a tough question, I know, but it's an absolutely essential one. Because clinging to old rules in a brand new game isn't just ineffective, it can seriously hold your entire team back. And that's exactly why we need to get a handle on this.
So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through 4 key stages. First, we'll look at the new managerial landscape. Then, we'll talk about the absolute mandate for self-development. After that, we'll get practical and map out your inner toolkit. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together when you start mastering your new roles.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, a new managerial landscape. This is all about understanding the massive forces at play and really figuring out why yesterday's rules just don't cut it anymore.
The big idea here is that the work environment is just constantly changing. And we're not talking about tiny tweaks. Think about it. Hybrid work isn't just about where you sit. It forces you to manage based on outcomes, not just on who's at their desk. Or what about rapid tech changes? It's not just about learning new software anymore, is it? It's about leading teams that collaborate with AI and make split-second, data-driven decisions. And today's teams expect so much more than a paycheck. They want purpose, they want transparency, and they want to see a real path for growth. The old command and control style, yeah, it just can't keep up.
So if the world has changed this much, how are we supposed to respond? That brings us to Section 2, the mandate for self-development. And let me be clear, this isn't just some nice-to-have, fluffy concept. It's the absolute key to thriving in this new era.
So what are we even talking about when we say self-development? Well, it's the active process of improving yourself to meet all those new expectations we just talked about. And the key word there is active. This isn't about sitting back and waiting for someone to sign you up for a training course. It's about taking total ownership of your own growth as a leader.
And this is where it all connects. The source material is really clear about this. Self-development is all about meeting these expectations. Think of it as the bridge between all the challenges of the modern workplace and your ability to actually lead your team through them. It is pretty much your core strategy for adapting and winning. Okay, theory is great, but how do you actually do it? That brings us to Section 3, mapping your inner toolkit. And here's the secret. The journey of self-development doesn't start by looking at what everyone else is doing. The very first step is looking inward.
This is all about being brutally honest with yourself. A real self-assessment means mapping out both your individual strengths, the things you're amazing at and can lean into, and your individual limitations. And those are the areas that might need some growth, or maybe you need to ask for support, or even come up with totally new strategies. True awareness means looking at both sides of the coin, with no judgment.
So take just a second and think about this for yourself. When you're thinking about your own performance, which side of this list gets more of your attention? Are you always focused on playing to your strengths, or do you find yourself constantly trying to fix your limitations? Your answer, honestly, reveals a whole lot about how you're approaching your own development right now.
All right, once you've looked inward, you can really start to evolve outward. This brings us to our final section, mastering your new roles. This is the payoff, the whole point of the process, becoming the kind of manager the future actually needs. Now, the crucial point here is that this whole journey gets you ready for what our source material calls the transition roles of a modern manager. And we're not talking about a new title on your business card, it's more about being fluent in different situations. For example, being a coach today isn't about giving people answers, it's about asking the right questions so they can find their own. The strategist role, it's way less about top-down orders and more about building a shared vision with your team. And being a talent scout now means you're constantly looking for and developing hidden skills inside your current team, not just hiring from the outside. That self-awareness is what lets you switch between these roles seamlessly.
So let's put it all together. This really maps out the entire journey, the path of managerial evolution. It all starts when you acknowledge that the environment has changed. From there, you have to commit to active self-development. That commitment leads you to assess your own strengths and limitations. And all of that work prepares you to fully embrace and master these new transition roles. It's a really clear, powerful sequence when you see it laid out like this.
All right, so if you're going to remember just a few things from our chat today, let it be these. First, the manager's role isn't static, it's always evolving. Second, self-development isn't optional anymore, it's the essential response to all that change.
Third, this whole journey kicks off with a really honest, balanced look in the mirror. And finally, the outcome of all this work is that you'll be truly ready for whatever new and complex challenges modern leadership throws at you.
And that brings us right here. A manager's evolution isn't some event that's going to happen in the future. It's happening right now. And your personal evolution? It begins the second you decide to act. So the only question left is, what's your first step?